So you're telling me during this whole nightmare, not one of the people in that blind man's house had to go to the bathroom? Are you kidding me? Don't Breathe stars Stephen Lang, Jane Levy, and is directed by Fede Alvarez. So the day is finally here. Don't Breathe has been released. This is a movie that I've been waiting for ever since I saw the trailer. It's one of my most anticipated movies of 2016. And did it disappoint? We'll get into that. But in Don't Breathe, Rocky, Alex, and Money, they are criminals. They're burglars. They break into people's houses. And they live in Detroit. And in Detroit, your life could be shit, and their life is really horrible, so they have to do what they gotta do to survive. And I like at the beginning of this movie how they take the time to build their characters, especially Rocky, played so amazingly by Jane Levy, by the way, but we'll get into her. But yeah, I like how they really take the time to set up these characters and let you know that these aren't good people. They are burglars, but you know, they do have a human side to them, especially Alex and Rocky. And Alex has dreams of getting the hell out of Detroit. She wants to go to California. And most of their jobs involve stealing items, not stealing money. So this job comes where this ex-war vet, his daughter dies and he inherits $300,000. And so they want to break into his house and steal the money. And a bonus, he's blind. So how hard could it be, right? Really hard, really freaking hard. So before I get into this review, let me tell you, up until the rating, you're gonna be fine. But then after the rating, I wanna talk some spoiler stuff because there is some good spoiler stuff in this movie. So up until the rating though, don't worry, you're good. But after the rating, you are dismissed. So really this movie kicks into gear, high gear, once they enter that house. And it's dark. And immediately you can tell, and they can tell that this might not be as easy as they thought because it's hard as hell just to get into the damn house. They try all the doors. The guy has maximum security locks just about on every door. And then once they get into the house, immediately the tension just ramps up. First thing I want to talk about that I love about this movie is Fede Alvarez's direction. There were quite a few times where this reminded me of Panic Room and the way David Fincher would move the camera throughout the house, from room to room. The camera never really stops. It doesn't move fast, but it moves. And what that does is it creates tension, especially since it is at night. And I like how the camera will follow a character and then leave that character and then come back to that character and then come to another character. So you never know what's gonna be in front of you. And that really is just tension 101. And it's proof that you don't have to use just music, just jump scares to create tension. No, you have actually a bevy of different tools that you can use in a horror movie to create tension. And that's what Don't Breathe does so perfectly. Also, Stephen Lang, wow. This guy is just an amazing actor. You might remember him from Avatar. And even in Avatar, he was one of the best parts of that movie. But in this movie, I mean, he just owns it. He plays a blind guy to perfection, but he's also a war vet. But what I like about it is they don't make him perfect. Yeah, he's blind, and so he makes mistakes. There'll be times when the characters are walking right towards him, and he doesn't sense them. And to me, that's more realistic. But it doesn't take away from how dangerous he is, because you will know pretty quickly in this movie how dangerous and how much of a threat he is. More of a threat than people with vision. And also, this is his playground. Everything takes place in his house, so he knows where every nook and cranny is. He knows all the creaks that are in the floor. He knows every turn. Really, his house is his weapon. But I also like the way Stephen Lang talks in this movie. He's just got this really creepy voice. There are quite a few times when the camera gets right up in his face and he looks like a horror villain. He really does. There are moments where you're like, oh, this isn't a thriller, this is a horror movie. It really is. And there's one segment in this movie, I call it the Silence of the Lambs segment, because there's one part where the blind man turns the lights off. And so then it's really his playground. And that whole scene really feels like that scene at the end of Silence of the Lambs. And in this moment, you feel like the burglars, they are really up shit creek without a paddle. Guys, I can't give you a con for this movie. I had such a blast. I was gripping my chair through the whole movie. It was just so refreshing. we might have a #1 movie of 2016. I might have bumped Batman v Superman to #2. That's how great this movie was. Wow. So I'm definitely giving this movie Trapped on an Island. I loved it. I can't wait to see it again. I really think Fede Alvarez will be another James Wan. He did such a great job, I thought, in the Evil Dead remake. He didn't just do a straight up copy of the original. And then in this movie, he did such a great job. And he seems to really like using Jane Levy. And I don't blame him. She is fantastic in this movie. Fantastic. Now, let's talk some spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen this movie, I would say get the hell out of here. But if you have seen this movie, go ahead and stick around because I want to talk about some things. Mainly the end of this movie, or really right after the second third of the movie, when they get downstairs in the basement and then they find that the blind man has actually kidnapped the woman that hit his daughter in the car accident. To me, that's where the story really took a turn, and I believe they actually showed this in the trailers, which was a really bonehead move because this was a cool part of the movie. But up until that point, you feel like the blind man, he's a badass, but he's a victim. At this point, you know that he's not a good guy at all. He is a kidnapper, really. And who knows how long he was going to keep this woman in this basement. Well, he was actually wanting to have another child. That's how demented this guy was. And not by raping her, but by, I guess, artificially inseminating her, which was really strange. And really, that is when this movie just so kicked into high gear. I really loved the third act of this movie, and it went in directions that I didn't think it was going to go. Because they could have played it simple, and it could have been just a straight up, you're in the wrong guy's house, and he's going to take care of business, and then that's the end of your movie. But no, they actually went further in this movie into different territories, and that's what I loved about it. And that's what kicks it to my possibly #1 of the year. So guys, what are your thoughts on Don't Breathe? Looking forward to hearing them. I am so surprised. I thought I was going to really like this movie, but I actually ended up loving it. It's one of the best movies of the year. Anyway, guys, make sure you join the Killer Flicks Facebook page and stay tuned because the Saw review is in the works. It's almost done, so that will be up in the next few days. And also make sure you like, subscribe, and content. And also make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And don't breathe.